All right, today we're diving back into Facebook groups, but today we're gonna cover what the heck you should be talking about inside of your Facebook community. A lot of times I hear, Jen, I just don't know what to post. And if you're posting out on social, how do you make that content different from the posting that you're doing inside of your Facebook group? So let's discuss. And if this is your first time or your bajillionth time being on this channel, my name is Jen Johnson. I am your high performance Christian business coach. And on this channel, we cover all the ways to turn your purpose into profit, leading like Jesus in creating content and digital products that will create impact and profit. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, turn on your notifications because I've got lots to share with you and you're not gonna wanna miss any of it. So the best way to answer any question you have about any strategy is to ask yourself questions. So when it comes to posting in a Facebook group, you want to ask yourself, what do I want to create? What result am I looking to get inside of this community? Not just for yourself, but for your community as well. So you're looking to do what? Maybe inspire, empower. You want people getting social and networking and sharing their value, empowering them to show up. So you're not the only one in there having dialogue with yourself, but you get other people interacting. Maybe you want to create, sales and conversions. So whatever the result is you're looking to get, and it could be multiple things, you just want to figure out what that is because that's going to give you a starting point for what type of content you should be creating. So what is the vibe of your community? And I can really just give you an example from my own community. I don't personally want to be the only one posting in my group. Groups are about community, so therefore other people get to talk, other people get to post, and you get to set the tone for what that looks like. I set the tone inside of my community. It's all about high performance, leadership, faith-based topics, building your business, tools, tips, resources around building your business. So other people coming in there may be building a business around health and wellness, but they're not talking about their health and wellness tips. They're talking about the business aspects of growing their health and wellness business. So you set the tone, you set the expectation, but you also want to be inviting people to get into conversation and get into posting and creating content alongside of you. All right, so let's get into it. What the heck should you post? Well, first of all, before doing that, I have another caveat here. You want to make a commitment to how often you are going to be showing up in the group. I highly suggest in the beginning you're showing up daily because you set the tone. If you want people posting daily and showing up daily, you get to do the same thing. And it's really gonna be up to you in the beginning to do that. If you've missed any part of this Facebook group series, I highly suggest you go check that out, binge the rest of this series because I talk a lot about other strategies to grow your group, to be able to set up your group and get your group started. So you don't want to miss any other pieces. And I connect all the dots within these different videos that I've created for this playlist. But essentially, you just want to make a commitment to how often you're going to be posting. That is what's going to keep you consistent. So just start posting. Even if it feels wrong or you're not sure, you're better off just posting and getting a feel because as you start posting, you start to figure out what works, what doesn't, and you start to find your groove. But if you're constantly in planning mode or thinking mode and you don't ever post anything because you're not sure, you're never really gonna know. So you gotta allow for analytics to kick in inside of the group, which I can show you that in another video, like how you can read your analytics, when you should be posting and what's working, what's not working, who's engaging, who's not. So, but in order to get those readings, you have to start posting first so that way the analytics can start tracking. So just start posting, do it messy. You have some kind of idea of what you want to be posting in the group. And as you go along, you'll come up with so many more ideas. And even if you're just like, I really don't know, what I suggest doing is looking at posts you've done in the past. You can go on Facebook, check out your memory section, see what you've posted, go back on your timeline and see if there's anything you've posted in the past that would be relevant for your group so you can just start repurposing to begin with. Trust me, people aren't gonna say,
oh my gosh, I remember you posted that 2 years ago on your timeline.
No. So go ahead and just start using content you've already created to get the ball rolling. Now, let me just cover my take on themed posts. I know the past couple of years, it was a big thing inside of Facebook groups to be like a Mindset Monday and Tip Tuesday and Winning Wednesday and, all those different cutesy little titles. Yeah, you can do that. But I also find that it's a little like been there, done that. So you can bring those in from time to time, but I wouldn't make that your everyday having some sort of theme, because it becomes mechanical rather than intentional. You got to ask yourself, what are you looking to bring to life inside of the community this week? What would support the community this week? What do you hear them talking about that you can create content around that would give them some insight or some support so that it will move the needle for them with their goal or with their business, whatever it is that you specifically focus on in your community. So don't make it so mechanical. Yes, you can include those things here and there, but you also want to be a human and not have your group looking so robotic. And for further inspiration, I will always tell you to go check out what other leaders are doing in their groups. So this goes for any strategy. If you want to get good at emails, go see how people are writing. If you want to get good at funnels, go see how people are creating funnels. If you want to get some ideas for what's working in groups, go see what other group leaders are doing that is working, and how can you tailor make it fit for your community, for your niche, and put it out there as content. This is a great way to just start getting your juices flowing. I do this all the time, and it has allowed me to come up with so many different ideas for my community. And another way, if you're unsure, is to ask questions. Start asking questions in your community to get to know who's in there. And these can be very basic questions like, where are you from? What is your goal right now? Just very generalized, because think about it, when you're first getting to know someone, the questions are pretty general. It's not like, what is your biggest struggle in life right now? Like, nobody wants to tell you that if they don't really know you yet, right? So you start off with casual, you start off with just getting people into conversation, answering questions they already know the answer to, and getting them conditioned to engage and interact in the community. So ask questions, you can survey, you can poll, you can use those different aspects inside of the group as well. Maybe you want to look at what type of content you should be creating, so you give them a poll of options like, hey, would this be more beneficial or would this be more beneficial? So you give them multiple choice. That makes it easier for them to answer questions. Also, create calls to action inside of the post that you're doing. So sometimes I notice people will just say something, but then there's like, okay, there's no way to really respond to that post because there was no question or there was no call to action. So whenever you're creating a post, it's good to end it with a simple question that your audience can answer, so they can start getting into the comment thread and engaging, and then you can get into conversation with them from there and start connecting people. And maybe someone says something specific and it makes you think of someone else, and you can start tying them together and getting them to network. So you want to bring people into these conversations, bring people into the posts, and the best way to do that is by striking up conversation, asking questions, or giving them a direct call to action to do inside of the comment thread. Another thing I love to do is challenge my tribe to post, to actually make their own posts. One of the best ways to get started with this is if you see your tribe members or your community members outside of the community posting, and you see a post that you really like, you find that it would be really relevant for the group, you can message that person and say, hey, I love the post you just did. Would you be down to come in and actually make a post of that inside my community? A lot of times people are afraid to post in a group. They're afraid to break their rules. They're afraid they're going to do it wrong. So when you just make personal invitations to people to say, hey, go post this, not only are you empowering that person, you're empowering the rest of the community to follow their lead. Oh, well, if it was okay for her to post that, then it's okay for me to post this. So get into the feeds of the members in your community and see if they're posting anything that would be really relevant or valuable for your group, and invite them in to actually make that an actual post inside of the community. And I can't tell you how many times people are still freaked out. They're like, do you want me to actually make this a post, or do you want me to just comment on another post? I'm like, no, I want you to make the post. You get to be a leader in this community. So step up and you get to actually lead the post. So that's another really cool way to just get the actual flow and people in motion and action being taken. Another thing is you want to think of relevant topics for your specific niche or group. So, if you're in weight loss, you want to be, maybe talking about their specific goals or eating habits, or what's the best way, their best tips for meal prepping. Allow them to give information. You can ask the question in a post like, hey, what are your best meal prepping tips? But let them be the one giving the value. And, if you find someone has something really insightful to say, maybe you invite them to go live and actually do like a mini, live inside of your community talking in depth about that specific thing. So you want to allow your tribe to basically just be the ones that are delivering the value, but as long as you're the one actually giving them a focal point or a topic, it'll make it easier for them to do that. So, being that I am a Christian entrepreneur and we talk faith-based inside of my community, Your Creator's Corner, I do specific things. Every Friday I do a Faith Friday live, but I'm not the only one that goes live. I have other people in the community go live and we talk about biblical leadership, what the Bible says about business, different topics. And then also I can throw down memory verses, daily devotions, things that are really relevant to my niche and my space that would allow them to grow in their faith. So you want to think of what is your niche and who are you actually talking to, and what are some specific additional styled content pieces that would support them in the group. Another awesome thing to do inside of your group, a strategy, is to host your events in your group. So if you're running a challenge, if you're doing a masterclass or a webinar or a workshop that's like a free workshop, you can host those inside of your community. I just wrapped up a 5-day challenge inside of my group. It was phenomenal to be able to really deliver and over deliver within that challenge, because it allows you to really pour into your community above and beyond, and it gets them very engaged. It really activates the group and tells Facebook, whoa, this group is hopping. And when you have those little surges and those little events taking place, it will really create a spike in engagement and will create a spike in sales if you're running that event with a call to action leading people to an offer. So if you want to learn more about that, I actually have my 5-step social selling guide, my quick start guide that you can download. You can see what those 5 steps look like, so you can see the flow of what it looks like to lead people from free content to your paid resources. And you can download that below. And of course, that leads me to, you get to promote your offers, products, and services inside of your community. Now, you don't want to like bang people over the head with it all day, every day, but as you're mapping out campaigns and challenges or master classes and you have something you want to offer or promotion you're getting ready to do, you get to make that offer to your people. I would be offended if I was in a community and I didn't get the offer first. So I love leading with, my email list and my Facebook community are always the first to know about what I have going on before I open up my offers to the rest of the public, out on social media. Because if there's space limited or it's only for a limited amount of time and only so many people can get access to it, whatever that program is, I want them to be able to have the first option. So don't ever think that you're not allowed to create offers or invite people to work with you closer. The community is where you get to really build the trust and show them why it would be beneficial for them to start working with you closer. So of course, you want to map out when you're making those invitations, and you want to do it to where, again, you're not, just constantly all day, every day pitching. Remember the jab, 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 right hook approach, and really just get in there and don't be afraid to do it, but be strategic about it at the same time. And lastly, I would say make sure you're spotlighting other people and recognizing them for accomplishments, for engaging, for showing up, for being a great example in the group. There's different things you can do, like you can acknowledge your top 10 engagers, you can acknowledge your conversation starters, or, as Facebook is handing out badges for visual storytellers, you can acknowledge those people. You can also just do like a member of the month or a spotlight membership week, Saturday spotlight, where you actually allow a member to come in and tell their story and get used to being vulnerable, open, authentic in a safe space where they're in a community of other people who are just like them in some way, shape, or form. They have the same beliefs, they have the same goal, or they have the same desire, obviously, if they're in this specific community. So allow yourself to get out of the way and put other people in the front spotlight, because then that fuels people, that excites people to want to show up even more. And I cannot tell you how blown away people are when I invite them to say, hey, do you want to do a Faith Friday? I really love, I invite people who were really engaged on a Faith Friday live that I did, and they're saying some really insightful things. And then I think, gosh, this would be a great person to actually come in and do a Faith Friday. And some people get so blown away. They're like, you really want me to do it? Like, they can't believe it. And when you can empower people to say, yes, you're worth it. You get to be in the spotlight. You get to use your voice. And that's my vision for this group, is to get people using their voice. I get to step into that and empower people to show up in a new way and stretch them into doing new things that maybe they've never been invited to do before. And that's what makes a really powerful leader inside of a group, is when you can not feel like you have to be the one always showing or telling, but you raise other people up and allow them to show and tell as well. And don't forget to track the answers that people are giving you to those initial questions you're asking when they come in the group, because again, that creates really good ideas for posts, for content, for going live, for things that you can discuss and talk about inside of the community. It's a great way to collect that data. You can always go over to, funnels or people's websites and see frequently asked questions that are in the same space as you, and gather those questions and answers as well, and start utilizing those kind of things to be able to create more content and get inspiration for your community, so that you never run out of ideas. But the idea here isn't for me to sit here and tell you post this and post this and post this. The sky's the limit. You really get to be creative with it. And you can do those theme posts. If you do it, I would really mix it up. I would come up with like 40 different types of questions or themes that you can incorporate. And the best way to go about figuring that out is to sometimes just sit down and allow yourself to brain dump, maybe take an hour and think, how many questions could I possibly come up with, or how many different theme styled posts could I come up with, and that's where you can do some of that research, look at other people's groups and get some inspiration, and then go out there and make it your own. But at the end of the day, you get to commit to showing up daily. And when you commit to doing anything for an extended period of time, that's what's going to create the consistency. So if you want to see more about how I roll inside of my community and how we show up, how I create content in there, and you want to get some inspiration from that, you can definitely join yourcreatorscorner.com, and I'll put that link here below for you so you can jump in. Be sure to answer the questions, because that's how I know you want to be there, and that's going to help me support you. And I look forward to seeing you over there. So until next time, as always, God bless, keep the faith, impact the world. See you later.